Yeah, you look a little rosy cheek. You look like the picture of Santa Claus where he's got the red cheeks and he's like, hey, hey, hey. But you look like a younger, athletic version of him.
Yes, yes.
I was being polite, Thomas.
Yeah, I was too. I was agreeing.
Or no, you two don't know how to give each other compliments.
What are you talking
What
about?
are you talking about? We got all the compliments.
All the
Like
compliments.
Thomas's head is shaped like a watermelon.
Yeah, and Maverick's fucking nose is the size of 2 dimes in the quarter.
Good cast, guys. Good cast. I'll be here. I'll be here a little later.
How dare you? How dare you?
Thomas ain't breathing.
Got me. Got me.
Not gonna recover from that one.
Oh.
He's still, yeah, he hasn't. He can't drink because his afraid he's just gonna spray it everywhere. Well, he didn't. He didn't even get a drink.
I thought I was being fat. I got 2 water bottles out of the fucking fridge. Tom's got a gallon jug.
A jug.
Uh,
Oh. Anyway. All right, we're back. The Graveyard Shift Movie Podcast, episode number 29. Almost at the big 3-0. But this week, it was my pick. And boy, picked The Wicker the Wicker Man from 1973. Because I had never seen it. And for some reason, a lot of people have been talking about it recently. And I was like, oh, we should check that out. Not the Nicolas Cage one. Sorry to ruin anyone's hopes. I thought Maverick was going to show us something, but it was just him grabbing his phone. But anyway, this movie was definitely interesting. You boys are going to hate me for this, but I kind of like this shit. Oh shit! I gotta turn my. He even told me to turn it on. But anyway, I think I'm gonna give this movie like a 6.5.
what the fuck?
Mavic, what are you gonna give this movie?
I'll give it a 5, 4.5, 5 for me. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't like really old movies where. Well, we'll get into it. What you got, Tyler?
I'm gonna give this movie like an 8.
Hell yeah!
Really?
It's not a scary jump out your seat movie,
No.
but as
definitely
far
not.
as like a mind fuck, whatever, it's solid.
Yeah.
Solid movie.
So anyway, what? Don't.
What?
I was just playing the Windows fucking.
It came up.
He's like,
Yeah. So, anyway. Hey, spoiler warning for The Wicker Man, 1973, the OG one.
maybe the new one. I don't.
Maybe the new one. We might. Yeah. Who
You
knows
said
what?
Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
the remake.
Damn.
You know, spoiler warning. But you know the not the bees, not the bees.
Yeah.
That's The Wicker Man.
What?
Yeah.
I don't see how that ties into this one.
I don't. Yeah. Spoiler. We're in the spoiler warning. There's no.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
More spoiler. Like double spoiler alert.
Yeah. There's no bees in this movie.
Yeah.
So that scene is all original for the remake, I guess. But anyway, yeah. Hey guys, I didn't know this when we started watching it, but somehow I ended up picking the first musical we've covered on the podcast.
Yeah.
Is it considered a musical?
When I looked it up later, people do consider it a musical, which there's a lot of music in it,
A lot of
Man,
singing.
tons.
tons. Which I'm gonna be honest, all of them were bops. I was I was
They were good, dude.
I was feeling
Innkeeper's
them all.
Daughter? Oh my god.
Innkeeper's Daughter. That wasn't actually her naked body, by the way.
What?
Well, it was when she was like
Yeah.
chest up, but she was like pregnant, so it was body doubles anytime it was like full
No.
body stuff.
You could tell because she was like a foot shorter when it.
Yeah.
I
Went
didn't
from
notice.
behind.
I was just
The
looking
weird
at
thing
ass
was
and tits the whole
she
time.
had voice dubs too, which I don't think it was the whole movie, but there was points that she had voice dubs, which I don't know why they did that, but yeah. So sometimes it wasn't even really her talking.
I would have given this movie a higher score if it wasn't for the singing.
Oh yeah, you didn't like the
Yeah.
singing?
No, it was just
That one.
certain parts of this movie were too long, but I just take it that 50 years after this movie was made, our attention span is a little worse, you know?
That one song, I sent it to you or whatever. I typed it to you, where it was like, there was a man. From that man, there was a boy. From that, and it was just that shit.
There was a boy who was a man who laid with a woman who made a seed.
Yeah.
Who,
From
No,
that
it
seed.
was.
And on that bed there was a girl, and on that girl there was a man, and from that man there was a seed, and from that seed there was a boy, and from that boy there was a man.
There was a bed, and then on that bed was a woman, and on that woman was a man, and from that man there was a seed, and from that seed there was a boy, and then something about a grave and
It's
a
a
tree.
grave, and then he goes, and from that grave there was a tree.
Kills the fucking
Kills that
holy
tree
shit, can he
part.
hold a, yeah, he
Yeah.
can hold a note.
The best part of that song is then they like go quiet for a minute, and then they go, and they start up again. I was like, yeah, I was in my seat like, yeah.
They show that fucking like wooden post with all the ribbons and like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's a penis. That's a fucking penis.
That's a cock.
What the fuck?
I'm
What?
sure there's a phallic symbol, but yeah.
Nah, they
Yeah,
said that's
yeah.
a cock. That's a whole cock. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
Yeah. I sent it to you when I got done watching the movie. I told you guys that I thought I set a record for this podcast. I think I've set the
record.
I think I've set the record for picking the movie so far with the most nudity involved in it. That from a movie I never expected there to be this much nudity.
There was a lot of nudity.
A lot
it
of
was all
nudity.
about fucking rebirth,
Rebirth and
like just fucking, like
Yeah.
that's what you get.
So, this is spoilers, whatever. I'm not going to go into the full ending or whatever. Did you feel like the main character was the villain?
no, because my point of view, they were all, the guy keeps calling them pagans or whatever, but they believe in the old
Yeah, he's like,
gods.
You filthy pagans! Did you fucking,
Yeah,
I'm
he
like,
keeps calling them
let them
heathens
just
and
live their
stuff.
lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but my thing, to be fair though, well, we'll get into it later. But yeah, you look at it from, everyone else is there and they believe in what they believe. And then he's the only guy that comes in and spewing all this nonsense about God and Jesus. And it's like, well, you're the outsider here,
Yeah.
Like, you're the guy. Yeah. So yeah, I had that whole feeling the whole movie where I was like, this guy's like, your beliefs are crazy. And I'm like, I don't know how much crazier they are than what you're believing. I mean,
Well, let's back up and tell people what the fucking movie's about.
the movie's about a policeman who I'd sent you guys a message saying that this movie was super British, and I thought about turning on the subtitles. But I think it's a British-made movie, but I think it's supposed to be based in like Scotland or something. I think they're supposed to be Scottish. But anyway, there's a police officer. There's this little island that the guy has to fly to and like land on the plane and shit.
Yeah. The Summer Isles.
The Summer Isles, yeah. And there's a
Hey, shout out to a piloting policeman.
yeah,
Right?
man. Hell yeah.
That's bullshit. Come on.
And
Telling me you don't know how to fly a plane, Tyler?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
like day one of police school. They give you the flight test.
I fly planes so much I even order my burgers that way.
Yeah.
Hey.
Goddamn Bobby's flying planes and shit.
But yeah, so he goes to the Summer Isle to investigate
Free Bobby Shmurda.
Free Bobby Shmurda to investigate a girl who's gone missing. And once he gets there, he realizes things aren't right.
Well, he got an
To put
anonymous
it the
letter.
least. Anonymous letter
Yeah.
addressed to him, specifically
When-
him,
Yeah,
which
and
then
when
it
he
makes
got
sense
there,
later. But
He got, after this letter, goes to the island by himself.
by himself, apparently,
And, goes to the lady who wrote it or the lady's mother, whoever the fuck she was, and she was like, "Oh yeah, what are you talking about?"
Yeah.
It's like, what?
She's like, what do you mean? I don't have a... Yeah, he gets there, and the first thing he starts doing is asking people, hey, you know this girl, and showing a picture? And all of them like, oh, no, she isn't from this aisle, you know? And, like... and the first hint you get...
No,
Yeah, it's because...
they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, the mom's like, oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she, like, walks out of the room, and, like, her daughter's sitting there, and he's like, hey, you know her or whatever? And she's like, yeah, of course I do. And I was like,
Just
oh,
gives it away.
yeah,
Oh,
and I was
fuck.
like, damn, she a rat. Like,
Yeah.
and then
Fucking...
that's the first instance we get of well, not the first, because he goes into that candy store and they have all the chocolate like rabbits, the hares or whatever. But she refers to, what's the girl, Rowan
Yeah.
Morrison? That's her name, Rowan. Yeah, she says that, you know, he's like, well, where is she? And she's like, oh, she's in the field. She's a hare, you know, running the place every day or something like that. And I was like, oh shit. But still, to this point, I don't really know what the hair thing had to do with it. But
I guess it's like the rebirth thing. They come back as something or something.
yeah,
I don't know. They didn't explain it. They didn't need to.
yeah.
I didn't give a fuck.
By the way, there is so there's different versions of this movie. What we all watched, I think, was the theatrical cut, and then there's like a final cut that's like 15 minutes longer or something. Which
That's
most...
what I want.
Oh yeah, are you sure?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm not sure
Which
at all. But...
the main differences I saw were there's another song that was cut entirely called Gentleman Johnny that apparently like they thought that was going to be the big hit from the movie, and then it ends up getting cut, and they were like, what? And then there's a beginning where it shows the guy as a police officer, and like all his cop friends are like bullying him because he believes in God so much, and they're like, man, you need to go get your dick sucked or some shit. And then he gets the letter and shit, and he's like, I'm gonna do it all on my own. There you go. But that's not in the movie we watched.
There was a little bit of bullying. I mean, I don't think he heard it, but when he walked into the office and those two dudes were talking shit about how
Oh, so
he's
Maverick
still a
watched
virgin
the
and-
final cut.
Gentleman, is it Gently Johnny?
Gently
Is
Johnny.
the
or
song
whatever.
that they sing when the boy comes to lay pipe and homegirl.
Oh, so both of you watched the final cut. Okay, well I didn't.
Did you not?
No.
Did you
Yeah,
not see that?
No, I watched the one on Amazon.
Where the guy
Yeah, no, I
comes
didn't.
and he's
No.
like, I got.
I knew-
He's out. Yeah, he's
Yeah. I
outside
heard-
the window, and he's like, "There's a older guy there," and he's like, "I offer you this kid, right?" It was
Yeah.
some, like,
Aphrodite and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
So you didn't see it, Thomas? Man,
No.
what a fucking lazy ass. Watching the bare minimum. We're
Yeah.
watching the deep cuts.
Oh yeah.
You watching the fucking mainstream stuff.
I heard.
So you definitely didn't watch it then.
Yeah, no, I read that thing too, where they talk about how, like the innkeeper's daughter, or whatever. That's kind of her job is just take like these boys' virginity or whatever. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
I mean, I could pull it up. I still. Hey, yo, Jamie, pull that shit up. Oh wait, I'm not. I don't have a Jamie. I got you. Don't worry.
But see, like my intro, Maverick probably saw the same intro I did, where it was like 6 minutes of a church service.
Oh yeah.
Like they're sitting at the church, like and the guy's being all religious and shit, and it was so
Oh
bad.
yeah, he's like a pastor, isn't he?
Dude, I fast forward through all that
You
till I saw
did?
the play.
Wow, I watched it all, dude.
I was like,
no, my
I got
intro-
time for this. I'm hungry.
My intro
I
was
forgot he
him.
was like a pastor.
My intro was him getting in the plane and taking off, and that was
That's
like,
like
the credits.
A quarter through the movie, like that's a lot.
There's
of cut.
there's literally like 9 minutes of like him sitting through a church service
Oh yeah.
and like them like talking and everything, and it's all
Yeah.
church shit.
Hmm.
To just
And-
to solidify that he's a church man. Because in your version, you didn't really see that, did you? You just
No,
assumed-
like you get it later on, but yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
You don't see it.
They right before he leaves, he walks in and then the dude's like him and another officer, not the main guy, two random dudes you never see again. Both officers are talking
I think they're called constables.
whatever. And they're talking about that dude. He's not a general. I don't know what the lieutenant or whatever.
Fucking general.
They're talking about how he's a virgin and he's saving his Willie for some girl that you never see.
Uh-huh.
That's when you find out he's a virgin.
Yeah.
That comes later on in the movie. Also.
Yeah, like, I got it later, because then they have the whole thing where the innkeeper's daughter is, like, trying to seduce him and sings a fucking whole 4-minute song, dancing all naked and shit. Where
Yeah,
she's like,
banging
the
on the
things
walls and
I can
shit.
show you. Yeah. And then later she's like, I thought you were going to come visit me. And he's like, I don't believe in that stuff before marriage or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay.
Man was maximum horny.
Yeah.
When she was dancing naked.
Like,
Did
he
you
was
see
on the
like,
wall,
got
like,
up and he was like, he like opened the door, but he wasn't by it. He was
Yeah.
like, ah, gotta close the door.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
something.
It was pretty.
Yeah, dude was definitely. I don't know how he got up to like he was like on the wall like this, bruh. I mean, it's like I don't know how he did it.
But
anyways, so he's looking for this girl. All these people are trying to seduce him.
uh-huh.
He finds out that they're like these crazy pagans. I almost called them pagans.
Vegans.
And then he's like onto him, and he's like, they're gonna kill this girl, and he goes
Yeah.
everywhere searching for this girl. Never finds her.
Nah, he goes eventually door to door, and he's fucking searching people's shit.
So
Oh, what's up?
so he barges in on this lady in the tub,
Yeah.
and she starts sucking on her thumb, and
Yeah.
it's hot. It's pretty hot for like a 70s movie. And then he's like, sorry, man. And he goes to leave, and then he stops and looks down again. He's like,
Yeah.
He's like saving it for his like spank bank or whatever.
Keep in mind,
Dirty fuck.
all these women trying to seduce him, comes back later in the movie a very pivotal part where if he would have just gave in,
Yeah.
things would have been a lot different.
Do you think they would have gone through with it though?
I don't know. They couldn't have, right? Because their whole thing is they
Yeah,
found,
everything's wasted.
yeah, like they found the perfect specimen. He had the power of God because he was a lawman. He was a virgin. What was the other one that he had?
He was the hunter who was hunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they had, but
I think there's one more.
and he came of his own free will.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and so I think if he would have smashed any of the homegirls, like their whole plan would have sort of gone up in flames. Because they.
So my picture is Christopher Nolan.
Nope.
Not Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. I was like, he's directing DC Batman.
Yeah. I saw that earlier too.
Guy won an award, a couple awards for this movie.
Hell yeah.
He's in it for 3 minutes.
He said that this is his favorite movie he ever did.
He's not in it.
Did it for
hardly
free
at
too.
all.
No, he's
So-
not. He's not like the main character. He only had in the version I watched. He only shows up about halfway through the movie.
So the guy, the old man who gives the kid to the lady in the beginning that you
Uh-huh.
didn't see,
Yeah.
is him.
Yeah, I heard that
it's
he's the one that does it.
Yeah, so... But, I mean, speaking lines, the very end, he has a big talking part, but...
Yeah. He
Dude maybe has 2 paragraphs. I think the fat, heavy-set bodybuilding dude's more in this movie than he is.
I don't know, when he goes to visit him in his mansion and he's like walking through the fields, he's talking for a good like 8 minutes there, I think.
Well, let's talk about how weird that is. The dude walks in, and he's like, wait right here. And he goes, and the cop goes and looks out the window.
Yeah.
And he's looking at these naked people running around. Dude's just sitting there
Yeah.
the whole time.
He's like, "Hello."
yeah. And I was like, what the hell?
Good afternoon, Sergeant Howie.
Yeah.
So,
I missed it, by the way, the first time around. And then reading more stuff, so I don't know if y'all caught it. Y'all caught the dude was totally full of shit, right? Christopher Lee's character?
At the very end, the Lord or whatever.
Yeah, Lord
What do you
Summerall.
mean?
Well, he's
Yeah.
he's walking with the guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my granddad when he came here, he discovered that if he just told people, the old gods would bless, everything. They just bought into it, and they would do anything he said." And so he's like, "So I just keep that up." And I was like, "Oh, So that's why at the end he's like, this shit isn't gonna work. The guy's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's gonna work.
Yeah,
'cause
it's
I
gonna.
believe it will.
But then I do love homie's like last fuck you, where he's like, all right, well this
Yeah.
shit don't work. There's only one other guy that you can do this to, and Christopher Reeve was like, shut up.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Yeah, they were like, yeah, if after you kill me next year, it's not gonna work. So you have to kill this asshole.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit! Dude, no.
Yeah, but I don't know
Well,
if y'all
anyway.
caught that he's totally full of shit.
So they end up killing the cop guy, or he's the real sacrifice.
Yeah.
And this leads into one of my biggest problems of this movie.
Okay.
So they lock him in this Wicker Man, and they burn it,
The
right?
Wicker Man, yeah.
So my whole question,
Mm-hmm.
It's a
would
bunch
you
of
not just
sticks.
run left and right? Because the bottom's on fire. So why would you not just like cannonball onto the side of it, right? And then your weight would just topple it over.
Yeah.
And it'd be good.
Like, there's a part where they lock him in, and he's at the door, and he's like, and he does like this, and like half the door is like, and I'm like, man, you can bust out of this shit easy, homie.
It's a bunch of fucking twigs. Are you telling me
It's
you can't
twigs,
snap?
and then there's one shot I see where it's like a metal latch on it, where I'm
Yeah,
like,
there's a
okay,
metal-
but still, I'm like, fucking snap. Like,
Well, I mean,
And then it's just the one he runs up when he first sees the girl and fucking slaps her. Dude. He fucking decked that man, running, starting everything.
Yeah,
He's
so-
like, what are you doing, Joker? And then just gets clocked.
yeah, so Rowan is still alive, and at the end, she like comes out, and she's like, oh, there he is. So my man's doesn't wait a second, just runs up this hill, and like just the one dude standing there. He's like, what are you doing?
Just God, is that
well, when he got the suit or the costume,
Yeah.
he grabs that candle holder
The
and goes up to the
candle holder,
innkeeper, and he's like,
Fuck him.
huh, and you think he's about to
Damn.
smash him on the head, but it's a '70s movie.
Yeah.
So he hits him in like the back shoulder.
back,
and the guy
yeah.
goes, "No!"
That was my favorite. Yeah. Ooh.
he let out like
Yeah.
and fucking unconscious.
That was great. I love what because he's like sleeping, but he's not really, and he's like listening. And they're like, "This will make him sleep." And it's like a fucking hand with its fingertips on fire. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
what
how
the
is that
fuck was
supposed to
that?
make him sleep?
I think you find out later that it's all just a ruse. So they've been setting this guy up the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it's all part of the plan.
And
Oh yeah, so he was meant to bust out like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So remember in the coffin there was just a random dead guy missing a hand.
Yeah,
So that's where they got the hand from.
yeah, I knew that's where they got the hand. I just don't know what they were doing with the hand.
I think it was them trying to convince him that they were like these crazy witches or whatever.
Maybe, I don't know.
So.
Yeah, but
What about the weird part when he first gets to town
mm-hmm.
and he gets his room key and they're all like singing that song about him banging the
Yeah, how
innkeeper's
he
daughter?
should go bang the innkeeper's daughter, and she's like standing
And
there
then
the
he
whole time, like, huh?
Then he goes
She's brutal
outside
too,
and it's
yeah.
just a field full of people fucking.
That was when I sent you guys a message where I went, this movie just took a turn. When he comes out and he goes that field, I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
I was like, is that yoga? Are they
Yeah.
wrestling? Oh.
Oh, they were
He
getting
does
it.
that.
And then it shows them fucking and then like the screen pauses.
It
I thought my
paused
shit,
It
on
like
and I'm
freeze
like-
frames and shit. Yeah.
yeah. I thought my shit was broken. I was like, oh, son of a
Nope.
bitch. Put my pants back on and I was like
Yeah, and then and then the graveyard's next to it, and there's like a naked chick on this grave where she's like crying, but at the same time, it looks like she's like
Laughing.
Like, yeah, I was like, what's going on? There's
It's about the lady who's breastfeeding holding an egg.
holding an egg. Yeah, I saw the.
I could use some eggs.
Yeah, I saw the director apparently said that was an old ritual where then she's wishing for another child or something. Somehow that's like a. But anyway, there you go. That's what that was supposed to be. Apparently, it was weird as fuck though.
Something.
Yeah. But can we talk about? There's two parts in this movie that are fucking crazy.
I don't think we can talk about this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, we'll move on.
This is going too far. You know, we need to
There's two parts in this movie that are crazy,
still talking about.
but then both of them end up not being real. Which, first off, he does like it sort of is like comical when he's like knocking on all the doors and going in looking for the thing. Next thing you know, he opens up this closet, dead girl falls out. And I went, oh, what? And then like the music cuts and everything, and I was like, this movie took a turn. And then it's like a little girl playing a prank on him or whatever, right?
Yeah, got his
So I'm
ass.
like, oh, okay.
Got him.
Later on, they do the same thing where they play this crazy like game of like fate where all these people stick their head in this like the sword 5-star sided star or whatever.
It was the sun or something.
Yeah.
I forgot what they called it, but yeah.
And then there's like a little dragon thing, and if the dragon doesn't like open its mouth or something, then that you end up finding out because everyone like goes through, and then later one guy goes through and the dragon like stays its mouth shut, and then they and cut off his head. I was like, what? And everyone was like,
They
oh,
kept saying
man.
a word. I don't remember what it was though.
Yeah. And I was like, Jesus Christ. But then it ends up being like a little girl, and she had like a costume on. They were like, oh, it's just Holly. And Holly gets up, and she's like, ha ha ha. But those two things were so crazy, but both of them ended up not being real. And I was like, oh, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. They were wild. Anyway,
So
good
that's pretty
podcast,
much the
guys.
movie.
Yeah.
It's really strange. It sets you up to think these people are like these sick, twisted, demented, whatever, and they are, but they're nowhere as close to being as crazy as you think. So it's like the whole movie, you're like, these guys are nuts, but then at the end, you're like, well, they were just doing what they had to do to manipulate this guy. So, like, really, we didn't see anything about them, really, you know, right? Like, the people fucking in the field, all that stuff could all just be nonsense, you know?
Yeah.
That they put on a show just to kill that guy.
Keep in mind that when we said earlier how that, like, there is no real villain and how that guy could be seen as a villain, one of these people is burning the man alive in the Wicker Man.
Yeah.
So, there might be, you know, burning the dude alive, and then I didn't know that there was going to be the, like all the sheep and shit,
Yeah.
And they were like screaming, and they were like,
Yeah, some bullshit.
this reminds me of like current day politics and stuff like that, but it's the same scenario as I Am Legend, right? To where the whole movie you're like, Will Smith's gonna get those zombies, but in the end he's the zombie. Like all the zombies are the normal people, and the other, because that's kind of what it is, right? It's like this whole isolated
that's the scene
society.
that they cut from the theatrical version because they didn't have the balls to put it in the real movie.
But yeah, it's let's do best scene, worst scene, or
okay.
We still haven't made a good name for this. We used it for like 10 of these. But
my favorite
Maverick.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Maverick.
I picked Maverick first.
Maverick first.
Best scene. Oh man,
Innkeeper's titties.
that was no. When they were talking like about the innkeeper's daughter, like singing, and dude was just standing there like stone faced.
Yeah,
like what the fuck? That was kind of funny. But I also liked when he punched dude, so that was pretty good too.
What's the worst scene though?
Worst scene was probably that when they were just talking, and then at the very end, like I don't know, it's kind of boring. There's not much there.
Oh,
and
when
he
he's
wasn't fighting back at all. He was like, they had that dude with like the 9 head with the receding hairline and the fucking. He was just real fat. Like they were like, oh yeah. He just grabs the police officer.
Yeah, it's like
man.
Yeah, it didn't look like
what the fuck?
he really tried to fight. It was more like, okay, this is happening.
Yeah, he just gave in.
At the last second, he does try to sort of talk his way out of it. Where he's like, "Do you guys really think this is, look at what you're doing?"
You're forgetting. He was walking and he looked that big guy in the face, and the big guy moved to let him go by, and he was like, "Yeah." And then he took a step, and the big guy was like, "Gotcha," and threw him down the hill.
Throws him down, and dude's rolling, and he's
that's literally how Maverick won 90% of his fights in middle school.
Yeah,
he's like, "I ain't gonna hit you," and then he ran off. So
that cop did spend the whole movie like threatening people. Where he's like, "I am the law.
Put you in jail.
I'll put you in jail." Yeah.
I'm gonna interrupt here because I wanted to say this earlier, but I forgot.
Okay.
Did the cop seem way out of his element and like the kind of hard ass that you just want to see fail?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, couldn't help but notice your blinker's not working. Here's a ticket. It's like, I just got hit by a semi. He's like, yeah, but rules are rules. Here's a ticket for your turn signal not working.
Yeah.
It's like, what a dick. Because he didn't have a warrant or any of this stuff,
No.
and he was just like taking shit, and it was like, wait a minute, this
Do
is
they
legal at all?
Did they say what year the movie took place in?
72,
72. What year did this movie come out?
73.
So okay, so they didn't even try to make it like.
No. I think I saw something where they said it didn't come out until in America until like 78 or something.
That fucking. I watched the trailer for that Midsummer.
Midsummer is totally
It's
inspired
the same
by
thing,
this.
right? Yeah, I felt like it was.
Yeah.
Had the same vibe.
Well, this
Midsummer.
movie was
Do
based
not
off
like
a
anywhere
book,
near
right?
as much as this. What's up?
This movie was based off a book called Ritual, I think.
Oh, I don't know. I saw
Came out 2 years prior.
maybe.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you. So.
Okay. Yeah. No.
But
My favorite part, which we haven't mentioned yet, but is also one of the fucking just weirdest, is he's in that school, and he's like asking if they know, who Rowan is, and they're like, no, and then he's like, who's this fucking desk? And they're like, oh, no one's. And then he looks and sees that like, her name's in like the syllabus and everything. And so he's like starts calling them all filthy liars and shit, and he goes over and he's like, this is Rowan's desk, and flips it up. There's just a beetle with like a string tied around a nail. And then this little fucking girl is like, poor beetle, just goes round and round every day and then just ends up back at the nail. And he's like, you awful child, why would you do it then? Something about that scene was so weird to me. I loved it, with the beetle and like this ugly little girl.
how dare you?
Yeah. And and I was like, what the fuck was that? Least favorite scene? Fucking, I don't know. I got bored the whole time. That's why I sort of missed it. When Lord Summer Isle is walking dude through like his plants, and he's just talking about all this shit, and I was like, oh, Anyway, and then that's why when I was looking it up, I was like, oh shit, some stuff actually happened here.
I don't know what my favorite scene is,
Yeah.
but I have a couple of least favorite scenes.
Oh yeah.
One of them is like when he lands in his plane. He's like, "Hey, bring me the boat."
The dinghy.
And then they don't listen. So then he gets the megaphone out and he goes, "Hey, bring me the boat." And the guy goes, "No." And he's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm a cop. Bring me the boat." He goes, "No." And like,
Private
and-
property.
yeah, it's like a
what?
10-minute thing.
Yeah.
Now, would you send the dinghy, please?
I'm afraid it can't be done, sir. This is private property. You can't land here without written permission.
And I'm just like, "What? We really wasted all this time on this?" Okay.
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Good lord." So, I don't know about favorite scene. I think that school teacher was pretty amazing. I think she was hot and informative. So, she just had a way of like phrasing everything to where he was like, "What? What about Jesus?" and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
she was like, "Well, blah blah blah." And there's a couple really good scenes in there where they like totally throw shit in Jesus's face, to where they're like, "What? Getting pregnant by a fire by jumping over it? That's ludicrous."
Yeah.
And then Christopher Lee was like, wasn't Jesus
Yeah.
born from a lady who was impregnated by a
Yeah.
goat?" And
Yeah.
he's like,
I liked before that though. He's like, they're jumping over the fire naked, and Chris realized, well, it's far too dangerous to do it in clothes.
Yeah. He's like, "What are you, an idiot?"
Yeah.
But my least favorite, like major least favorite part is like the last 10 minutes where he's just shouting out like his Christian. He
Oh,
starts singing that song.
start singing. Yeah.
And then he's like sitting there saying a prayer and stuff. Well, you don't need
I
this. Just
liked
show him
it.
burning.
I liked it when in that part, because he's like, you burn me up, but I believe in Father above, and I'm eternal life and all that stuff. And Christopher Lee's like, well, great. You don't have anything to worry about. You're gonna be, a martyr. You're gonna be welcomed into the gates of heaven.
All right, let me ask you two a question.
Okay.
Now you're on that cliff side, and they got you there.
Uh
And they're like, "Hey, you idiot, we got you.
huh.
We're gonna go burn you in the Wicker Man."
Yeah.
At what point do you just like kick one of those hose and just jump off the cliff?
Yeah, I would
I was
have
thinking
been off
like
that cliff.
grab the Lord
Yeah.
and take off with his ass. Like
They had that
You
little
just jump
knife the
off.
lady pulled. I think it has a name. It's a Scottish knife. Can't remember.
Yeah.
It's like a dirk or something.
Yeah.
But it looks like she stabs him in the chest, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What? Why do they have the knife if they don't use it?"
pulled a knife out just to burn him at the stake. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? I
It's
don't understand.
well, that's all part of the sacrifice and stuff. But it's a good movie. I mean, there's way too much nudity in it and stuff. Like you
There's
didn't
a
need
lot
all
of
that.
nudity.
So
Which,
I mean, there was like X-rated nudity almost.
Yeah, which-
right? Like you didn't see anything, but everything was very implied. And
No. I saw, funny enough, England, like, when this came out, they're like, what the fuck? They're like, you can't have all this nudity or whatever. The Bible Belt of, like, America, Christopher Lee and the guy who directed it would go around in like, a van and bring it to, like, church gatherings and play this movie. They fucking love this movie. And, like, it's very weird.
Thomas,
What's up?
never mind.
But anyway, yeah, they would just go around in the van, play this for fucking church groups, and they'd be like, "This is
In a
great."
van.
Yeah,
By the river.
it was supposedly, yeah. Christopher Lee like worked for free. He didn't get paid. He would just go around with the director and play this movie for a bunch of people. Like,
Which, if you know the statistics of this movie, which I'm sure you have written down, Thomas,
uh-huh.
this movie made horseshit for money. So it's like, why are you doing this?
Wow.
Did it really? How much?
It made 83 grand in the box office,
Listen,
and I think it had a budget of like 900,000.
yeah.
I don't know. These are guesses, Tom. You probably got real answers. These aren't guesses. This is me just trying to remember.
I didn't write it down for some reason. I'm looking it up.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
I'm sorry.
But that's roughly right. Like it didn't get in the theaters, I think, because
no, yeah, it all got like kicked out and shit. So, box office had $58,000, budget of $800,000. So that's about as big as a flop as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know,
Wait, how much?
58 box office, 800,000 to make it.
Damn.
So it made 60 grand, but it cost $1 million to make. And these are like 1970s numbers, so
Damn.
you're talking like probably, inflation and everything.
Yeah.
$3 million to make, and it made, let's say, 100,000.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I saw you mention it, by the way, how like this isn't like a jump, scary movie or whatever. It's more like a psychological thing. Screenwriter Anthony Schaefer wanted this movie to be more of a, more than the average horror movie. Specifically, wanted a movie with minimum violence and gore. He was tired of seeing horror movies that relied almost entirely on violence to be scary. The focus of this movie was crystallized when he finally hit upon the abstract concept of sacrifice. There you go. Also, Rod Stewart was dating the innkeeper's daughter at the time, and when he found out that her breastises were in the movie, he tried to get it banned.
What a bitch.
I know, right? Fuck out of here, Rob. Wait, Rod?
Rod.
Those ladies, by the way, because we mentioned them earlier, the ladies are dancing naked around the fire or whatever. They're not really naked. Like, I think they're supposed to be naked in the movie. Like, they want you to think they're
Yeah.
naked. But you can totally see in the first shot, they're wearing, like, sort of like a see-through cloak or something.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Well,
Yeah.
those are different ladies, but yeah. Because there's the lady, because one of those, trying to punch me?
Yeah.
One of those ladies is super pregnant, right?
Yeah.
She's
The one in,
wearing
like, the
white-
middle.
The white,
Yeah.
yeah. But then it goes to the other lady sitting on the bonfire, and they're not wearing anything. They're like spread eagle, sitting in a circle, and they start doing like this line routine dance thing. And it was like crazy.
Yeah.
I think Maverick's asleep. He hasn't opened his eyes in 20 minutes. Okay.
What are you talking about?
He's dead. He died. Anyway. By the way, shout out to that little girl that he talks to at the beginning of the movie, where she's like, "Hey, come paint with me," and hands him the fucking paintbrush, like paint side down. He's like, "Ah." Like,
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck?
yeah.
Do you think they did that as like a symbolism to show him that things are the opposite of what he thinks they are?
I don't know.
Like,
I was thinking
you know
more
what
of
I'm
like
saying?
maybe
Some
he's
type
the maybe he's the marked one.
maybe, you know what I'm saying? There has to be a reason for that. It couldn't have been like the girl's an idiot
Yeah.
because they had the towel and everything. So I don't know. Like there had to be like a artistic point, you know?
We talked about it before we started this podcast, so I'll mention it now. There's a song, I think it's the one where it's the boy in the grave and the seed and all that shit. But it starts off with a dude playing an instrument me and Tyler have agreed that we need to buy, which is the mouth harp. Yeah. And so shout out to mouth harp. By the way, if you look it up, Maverick, it's apparently called the Jew's harp.
Oh no.
And there you go. We were like, what? But they don't call it that no more, believe it or not. There's a whole bunch. There's stuff we haven't covered about the guy who plants trees on top of the grave and like puts pieces of skin on the tree.
Yeah, what the fuck? What
shit.
was that
That's
thing hanging?
the umbilical cord.
Yeah,
Umbilical.
Yeah.
That was also fake now that I think about it.
yeah,
It might have been real.
yeah. I don't know.
Because she
Like,
wasn't dead, so that's not her umbilical cord.
yeah, but
but
what if it was
that's-
on other people's trees?
No, it's an umbilical cord from when you're a baby and they just cut it off.
Yeah.
And then back
What?
in the day, they used to save it.
Well, they show later they have a jar just of foreskins and shit.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
a jar labeled foreskin. So
Yeah.
I was
And
like, oh
like
shit.
snake excrement and
Yeah. Once it
one of those things was like snake cum or something.
Something,
Yeah,
yeah.
ejaculation, some
Yeah.
shit.
yeah, and then that
Don't get me
leads
started about a sore throat because
Yeah,
I ain't never
that's-
getting sick.
that leads into apparently this little girl has a sore throat, so this island's medical treatment for that is to take a frog and shove it in their mouth and let it like and then come back out. And I was like, what? I thought she was like swallowing it, but no, it like goes around. I don't know if it pisses in her mouth or something, but then they bring it back out and they're like, all right, good job, here's a lollipop. Like there's some weird shit. We haven't mentioned the greatest fucking song ever written, which is the song that after when dude's flying and it's like corn rigs and barley rigs or
Oh yeah.
Like corn rigs,
The same
barley
thing.
rigs,
Yeah.
but corn rigs are barley rigs. I was like, what?
That's the greatest song ever, dude.
Corn rigs and barley rigs and corn rigs are bonny.
I don't know.
And they played it like 6 times.
Yeah,
They did. They played a lot.
they play it throughout the movie. They play it when he's riding through that forest and there's like a bush shaped like a dick. And
Yeah.
he's like, whoa.
The one before that was weird looking, but I didn't know if it was supposed to be like titties or like a UFO or what.
Yeah.
Because the one right after it obviously was a penis, but the one right before it, I was like, what is that supposed to be? But I didn't see it.
Yeah, like yeah, there's a whole bunch like I'm sure there's more if you look into it, but there's a whole lot of stuff dealing with sex and shit in this. Did you guys think, by the way, because I looked it up and like apparently it's like they say it's like he's doing really good. I thought the homie who plays the main cop was really good throughout the whole movie until the point where he sees the Wicker Man. And he goes, "Oh God, Jesus!" And it's the first time you
Yeah.
see the Wicker Man, and it's a cool shot of the Wicker Man for the first time. But I thought, like at that point, I was like, "Oh, my dude, he got really bad all of a sudden." But apparently, people talk about how great he was in that scene.
Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ!
And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." But I don't know. And then I thought, like, after that, when he's doing the whole thing where he's like, "Listen, next year, if this doesn't work, there's only, you got to burn homie." Like, I thought he was good there, too. But that middle section there where he just starts, "Oh, God, Jesus." Like, but anyway. Also, then people fucking with my dude's plane. That was messed up. Oh, we haven't
Yeah.
talked about...
It just didn't start.
We talked about how this movie, like, inspires that Midsummer movie. I don't know. Tyler might have. I watched it. Maverick might have watched it. But the Pet Sematary remake. Do you remember, like, Pet Sematary? They have the whole thing where the kids, when they carry the pets, they wear, like, masks of, like, the rabbits and, like, all the shit.
Yeah.
And, like, this movie, it looked like the kids from that. And I was like, did Pet Sematary, the remake, take that from this? Like, because there's a part where all these people just start popping up with these animal masks. And it plays, like, this creepy little... every time, like, one of them pops up or whatever.
Yeah. There's like 20 of those fucks.
Yeah, and it's when, like, his plane won't work. And you're like, okay, they sabotage my dude's saboteur. They sabotage his plane. So he can't leave in time. Because, you know, he's got to get out of there before the May Day ritual or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Scenario time again.
Okay.
You've already jumped off a cliff, boys.
Uh-huh.
Do you think this movie could happen in modern day?
Now,
do you
what do you
think
mean
you
by
would
that
just-
when you ask it?
Like, with modern technology, like, there's no way half this stuff, you know,
Oh.
like... You're like, hey, where's Rowan? They'll be like, don't know, never seen her. It's like, motherfucker, this is you on Facebook with him. You know, and he just shows him the phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that seems like one of them villages
never would've
where there
worked.
just would be no technology. Like, they would stay... You know, they'd be like the Amish. You know, they'd have, like, lamp oil lamps. What?
when you
Sure.
said one of those villages, I thought you were referencing the actual movie.
The Village? No, I've never seen that either.
Oh, well, they're like that. They,
Yeah. I kind of
But that's
know
not
the
a
twist
spoiler.
in that movie, though.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I kind of ruined that for
Yeah.
you. But I don't. I'm just saying. Like, I don't.
I thought when you asked it, because you asked me a little earlier before we started this, I thought you
Yeah.
were saying, like, do you think you can make a movie with, like, this much sex and, like, nudity? And I was like, nowadays, that seems like that movie would fit right in with shit going on.
Well,
I don't
let
think
me
so.
let me ask you.
Okay.
Do you not feel like in modern society we are the island?
We are the island.
Like, think about it. You look on you turn on any television or turn on any radio.
Uh-huh.
Are you hearing like the gospel of Jesus? Are you hearing about dudes fucking bitches and
Yeah.
like it's the completely opposite? You know, like
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, wait a minute. So, I don't know. It's just my little opinion, you know. But I think that, you know, be it what it may, like whatever your religious background is or preference, like you got to understand that we're so far from any religion right now that it's just insanity. So
Speak for yourself. I got all the religion.
you do.
I also got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a
I am fucking
pocket full of sunshine.
No,
got a
copyright.
pocket full of virginity.
Damn.
Hey, just like
Where's
my
your
man.
Where's your hoodie? Is that your hoodie? Are you wearing it?
No, this is my
Oh.
Virginity Rocks hoodie. It's
Yeah.
in the dirty clothes.
Shit.
Oh, I thought it was
I was
reversible
looking for
because
it.
it looked yellow.
I thought it was
on
in the
inside.
trash.
No, I was looking for it, and I was like, "Fuck, where is it?" And then I remember I wore it like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I haven't washed it yet.
By the way, you were talking about this. There's a part in this movie where everyone's getting their costumes for whatever. Or no, it's when he's going around looking for the dead girl. Also, before I go into that, there's that part where he finds the dolls and they're like fucking, and I was like, oh, look at that. But there's
The
a
bed's shaking, isn't it?
yeah,
Like
like
the bed's moving, so it looks like they're actually fucking
Yeah.
the fucking dolls. I was like,
there's
what is
a
this?
there's a part where he goes to like the meat store or whatever, and the one guy like pulls out and he puts on like the cow's head, but it's got like horns, and I was like, oh shit, it's the dude from the Capitol. He's in this movie. Like it was so
dude
weird.
So happy that hat, like he is just cheesing, like ear to ear.
He
It's
was
me.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
It was a whole montage of dude just busting into people's shit,
Yeah.
looking through coffins and closets. This little girl was in a fucking cave.
Yeah.
Like fucking like a Bin Laden, boy.
I was
He even runs to that boat.
yeah.
He's like a boat, and then he runs in. You get to watch him run around a boat for 2 minutes, and you're like,
Yeah.
why?
Well, I remember thinking, because he goes up there after he lays homie out, and then the girl's like, oh, thank God, Copper, get me out of here. I hate it here. And I was like, that was terrible.
Hurry, mister, please. I don't like it here. They're coming. You know what they're going to do. They're going to...
Come on, hurry.
And I was like, I hope this is all a setup. And then it was. I was like, okay, she was, playing the game.
I
But-
never saw the setup coming, man. I really didn't. I thought she actually because they had her tied up and all.
you know, I like I said coming into it, I didn't know anything about this movie except for the fact that Homie gets burned up in the Wicker Man at the end. So like I knew regardless.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I knew Homie was gonna die somehow. But
Wow, way to spoil it for yourself.
I know, big brain energy. But just in my mind. But anyway. Yeah, it was a wild movie. It was definitely
So,
interesting. I don't regret picking it.
would you suggest like everyone watch this, or would you? Because there's no way you would suggest this to your mom.
No. Yeah, no.
Really?
But you
I
would
think
suggest it
makes
to
you
your
like
dad,
it.
though, right?
I would probably suggest it to him.
So
Well, I don't know.
it's,
He doesn't like musicals. So
Well, this is like his time. This might be his jam. He's like, I remember that.
Probably
and he gets
already
up.
seen it. Yeah.
He gets up like Christopher Lee when he has the wig and he's cross dressing, which we didn't talk about.
yeah, we didn't talk about that.
And he starts dancing, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Come on, Tom, you're not even dancing."
Yeah, he's like, you're
the
not
fool."
dancing good.
So like, I don't know. You think he said that just because he knew who it was?
Yeah, he must have.
Yeah, they knew.
I don't know. You usually like at the end of these, we say, "Hey, you know, guys, go see this movie. It's pretty good. You know, watch it at least once."
I
or
want
whatever."
people to watch this movie.
Not worth. Not worth.
Nah, they should do it. Just
I
for
say
the
watch it, but
just for the tree
like-
song alone.
like, it does have a lot of nudity. So if you have small children or
Oh,
like
okay.
awkwardness,
Oh, you see a little bit of butt. You see an ass of titties, bruh. There's a lot of titties
Yeah.
in this movie.
No dong. Movie sexist.
Yeah,
No, there
that's
is.
fucked up.
yeah, there is. There's just like tons of dong. They have this one where it's like this tree with ribbons.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And there's
Holy
a
You're right.
bush.
Alec.
And a
There's
bush.
shaped like a cock.
Yeah. Also, real quick, because I liked it, the final shot is of the Wicker Man's head on fire, and it like crumbles over, and then it like zooms in on the sunset.
On the sun.
And I was like, that shot is fucking great. I was like, shout out to whoever did that.
Solid.
But anyway, I think that's about it for that movie. You know.
Yeah, we talked about the whole thing.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
don't.
want to go to the beach and sacrifice some ale to the
Yeah,
ocean god?
to the ocean
He
gods.
chopped it with the axe and then pushed it down. It was all foam. It didn't
We could
fucking
do
go
that.
anywhere. It just sort of stopped
Yeah.
where like the waves break.
I'm just
but-
saying, we go over to the beach and throw a couple Budweisers in the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, be all
We
right.
get arrested. They didn't come down there. First, this is public intoxication.
Yeah.
Second, you're fucking littering, you assholes.
We're like,
Stop
listen,
littering.
we're
drinking. It's not
we're talking to the sea god.
I'm fucking getting drunk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like Maverick. No, those are for the ocean. You're just like,
I'm in there like a dog lapping it up.
Yeah.
Dude. I'm just like, we must not waste the ale. Like,
Yeah.
Pour
So
one out for the. It's that fucking Key and Peele sketch. Pour one out for the homies.
yeah, and he's like,
We don't want to waste it.
he's like. But anyway, I don't know if we'll ever watch the Nicolas Cage one. The Nicolas Cage one is notoriously supposed to be like one of the worst movies ever.
Oh god.
Which also, you know, so I watched the theatrical cut for this one. If you watch just the normal theatrical cut for the remake of The Wicker Man, the bees scene that everyone knows, and that's like the most famous, is not in the movie. It's in the director's cut. So you have to watch the director's cut
fuck?
to get the bees scene. So I don't know if we'll ever watch it. We might just to sit through
April
but-
1st.
April 1st, yeah. The bees. But
Feels so foolish.
I don't think, have we... Oh, that's not true. We did Halloween. I was going to say, I don't think we've watched a movie and then watched, like, its remake. Or we've done the opposite
Just
of a lot.
Halloween.
We've watched the remake and we've never watched the original a lot on this channel. Yeah, but then I remember we'd done Halloween. And so it was like, oh. But anyway. All right, well, that's the end for this one. But next week was Bag's pick, but we're having some like scheduling issues, so he'll still be coming in every now and then. I don't know how often he'll be here, but he's still always, you know. So I think we're gonna move on to Tyler's pick for this week. So Tyler, what do you got for us?
I'm I'm on the fence because
Wait,
you know what I'm picking.
Yeah, I know what
Instead
you're
of
picking.
Bags, if like Bags ain't here to pick something, we should have an audience pick where people suggest shit, and then we could pick
If
from that.
the people
If
suggest
the people
stuff,
put stuff in the comments, yeah.
yeah, I would pick it as my pick every week because
Yeah.
picking is it's the hardest thing because you pick a movie.
Speak for yourself. It's so easy to pick a movie.
So
Well, you never pick one on time, son of a bitch.
yeah.
Listen, I just gotta pick one. It doesn't have to be on time, okay?
Oh yeah.
Shit that hasn't even come out yet though.
Yeah.
That's the good shit, dude.
Yeah, maybe. But beyond the Black Rainbow or whatever, I think is what I'm going for. Maverick, I don't know if you ever watched Mandy. So you're not even prepared.
No.
I've watched Mandy and I'm not even prepared. Like this is gonna be a weirdo, mess with your mind movie.
Okay.
I suggest watching it in total darkness with your TV or monitor like turned all the way up. It's a very I guess trippy movie, right? Like it's all color schemes and stuff like that.
Gonna find out.
And I would say go with I watch everything with headphones on, but listen to it loud. So because the music plays a huge part. These are all things I've heard. I haven't seen this movie, but it's Pantos, whatever his name is.
I swear, back in the day, after you watched Mandy, you watched this and you watched like 10 minutes of it, and you were like, "This is terrible," and you turned it off.
Listen.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring it to the past.
All right, the past. Yeah.
You know? Let me look at this director's name just so I don't mess it up.
Okay.
Panos Cosmatos.
Oh. Shout out.
He made this and Mandy, and that's the only two movies he's made so far.
Yeah.
So, but this has an 81% like.
No fuck. All right.
Pretty good stuff.
Well, hey, next week,
Maybe.
Beyond the Black Rainbow or Dark Rainbow?
Black.
Beyond the Black Rainbow. Thanks for listening to Wicker Man. Earlier this week, Return of the Living Dead 2 Overtime came out. Go check that out. It was a doozy. Oh boy, was it a doozy. Yeah, so anyway. So next week.
Doozy.
There you go. Next week, Beyond the Black Rainbow. And we'll see you then.